and welcome to the Indie Brew Show, where we spill the tea on indie games. My name is Beck.
And I'm Ant, and today we have a stacked lineup of indie game goodness, including...
We chat about the latest indie game news and some of the games that caught us by surprise this week.
It is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
It's probably going to be mad at me because I don't think I really liked it.
Oh no, what is it? Things get heated when we talk about the Stop Killing Games initiative and what it means for gaming.
Like, that seems wrong.
How do I say this without getting too into it?
And tea drinkers, we're coming for you this week. We recommend indie games based on what tea you drink.
It's like one of the most stressful games I've ever played while relaxing in my Audi drinking a cup of tea. Like, it makes no sense. So grab a cup of your favorite caffeinated beverage and let's get this show on the road.
Freshly brewed.
A brand new demo has just dropped for Orion's End, a narrative-driven space exploration game set in a crumbling galaxy. You play as a lone courier, uncovering lost stories, abandoned tech, and the quiet beauty of a world left behind. The pixel art's gorgeous, the soundtrack is haunting, and the vibes are pure Citizen Sleeper meets Outer Wilds. You can try the demo right now on Steam.
A new update just dropped for Tiny Garden, and it's bringing some chill summer energy to your cozy plant collection. The Summer Breeze update adds 6 new plants, a brand new jukebox feature so you can play custom music in your garden, and even a surprise new farming mechanic that devs haven't revealed yet. So there's something fresh to discover while you play. There's also a cosmetic bundle with new stickers, furniture, and decorations. If you back the game on Kickstarter, you'll get it for free, and it'll be available for purchase too. The update also brings improvements for Steam Deck, controller support, and general polish across the board. If you're already playing Tiny Garden, it's a perfect time to check back in. And if you haven't jumped in yet, this might be your sign.
Fields of Mysteria is getting a new update on July 21st, and it looks like it'll bring some solid improvements for fans of cozy farming sims. The update will include expanded dialogue with romance candidates, new seasonal festival content, and plenty of bug fixes and polish to make the game feel even smoother. The devs are also teasing a few unannounced features, including what might be a new pet system and additional crops, though nothing is confirmed yet. If it's been a while since you last played Fields of Mysteria, this update might be a great reason to return. Mark your calendar, it goes live on July 21st on Steam.
Subnautica 2 has been officially delayed, and it's now targeting a 2026 release. Originally planned for 2025, the game is getting pushed back to give the devs more time to refine its big new features, including co-op gameplay, expanded base building, and a more open player-driven structure, with new biomes, new creatures, and more freedom to explore. The devs say they want to make sure the experience lives up to expectations, especially with how ambitious this sequel is shaping up to be. There's no exact release date yet, but the team plans to share more updates later this year. So for now, it's time to settle in and be patient. The deep dive will have to wait.
Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions is about to take you on a journey with its new All Aboard DLC. This paid expansion adds fresh ambient sounds, beautiful visuals, and new customization options for your workspace. If you want a peaceful place to focus or relax, this upcoming DLC might be exactly what you need. Stay tuned for its release later this year.
Against the Storm fans, get ready. The roguelike city builder you love is about to get even deeper with the upcoming Night Watchers DLC. You'll meet a mysterious new faction with unique buildings, modifiers, and challenges that change how you play. The expansion also brings fresh lore, events, and UI improvements to deepen your experience. If you love roguelite city builders, this DLC will shake things up in the best way. Mark your calendars for July 31st.
Go-Go Town just dropped its biggest update yet, Tourist Trap. This update adds tourists to your town, along with new buildings and attractions to keep them happy and spending. You'll manage entertainment and infrastructure, making your town thrive in new ways. There are also UI improvements and performance tweaks based on player feedback, all designed to make building even more fun. If you want to welcome visitors and grow your economy, the Tourist Trap update is live now on Steam.
The cozy digging exploration adventure game Cozy Holes has just announced its release date, and it's right around the corner. The game features Digby, a magical shovel exploring a tropical island filled with ancient carvings and a heartfelt story. It's a relaxing adventure focused on digging, exploration, and light puzzles. There's already a free demo out if you want to give this one a go, but mark your calendars, Cozy Holes is arriving on August 6th on Steam.
The Wandering Village has officially left early access and launched its 1.0 version. In this cozy city builder, you will be managing a village on the back of a giant roaming creature, balancing survival, exploration, and harmony with nature. With the 1.0 update, the game has added polished mechanics, new content, and a sleeker UI to round out the experience. If you've been waiting for the full release, now is the perfect time to jump in. Wandering Village 1.0 is out now on PC, and it's one heck of a ride.
Looking for something new to pick up this week? Well, we've got you covered. This is what's on the menu.
In Phantom Squad, you'll team up with up to 4 players and navigate brutal missions where every choice counts. Combining real-time strategy with fast-paced combat, this top-down shooter is perfect for lovers of games like Door Kicker. This one hits PC on July 18th.
Embark on a journey as Felix while he attempts to stop an evil king from starting a great war between the kingdoms. Astral World will see you journey through the land, gathering resources and facing challenges in an interesting looking pixel adventure. This one's coming out July 19th.
Dash, freeze time, and super speed attack your enemies in Advent Neon, a hyperactive 2D action platformer. Play as Neon, a super fast robot as you move through Neopolis, attempting to get your creator's body back, releasing on July 19th.
King is Watching is a roguelike kingdom builder where your kingdom only thrives under the power of your royal gaze. You'll need to choose between producing resources, training armies, or attempting to balance both while protecting your kingdom from different events in each run. This one's coming to PC on July 21st.
Tiny Robots, Big Nostalgia, Misk, A Tiny Tale is a heartfelt 3D platformer with tight controls, magnetic puzzles, and a world that's begging to be explored. If you love Banjo-Kazooie, this is your next cozy obsession. This one is launching on Switch July 22nd.
The iconic puzzle series returns. Monument Valley 3 brings more impossible architecture and emotional storytelling to the table. Now with a new cast and deeper layers of surreal beauty, this one's landing on PC July 22nd.
Sunset High is a narrative-driven 2D adventure where your crush is missing and now you're reliving the same day over and over. Drama, dilemmas, and time loops collide in this mysterious, story-rich game. Class is in session on PC July 23rd.
The fate of the universe rests in your handlebars. Wheel World is an adventure sports game where you play as a rider chosen by the ancient spirits. You'll race, upgrade your bike, and perform the great shift to save the universe. Spinning onto PC July 23rd.
Rebuild a dreamy cosmic inn in Hotel Galactic, a hand-drawn cozy management sim where you decorate rooms, serve alien guests, and restore charm to a forgotten corner of space. This one is perfect for lovers of games like Spiritfarer, and it's opening its doors on PC July 24th.
Let Them Trade is a resource management game where you'll build a network of cities that produce and trade resources, provided you can protect them from bandits, of course. Upgrade your castle and watch your kingdom survive in what's a perfect game for lovers of Catan. Arrives on PC July 24th.
Bargain Brews!
Are you looking to get the best bang for your buck this week? Well, here are some bargain brews for you to pick up. The Automation Fest is on Steam this week until the 21st of July, and there are some pretty amazing games as part of it, including Shapes 2, which you can pick up for 30% off. Big Pharma is a whopping 70% off. Captain of Industry is 30% off, and Tectonica is 67% off.
This week we've also got Risk of Rain number 2 at 67% off. We've got Undertale, the absolutely amazing game, for 75% off, so it's just at $4. We've got Copycat 50% off and Stacklands for 40% off.
And we've also found some pretty great discounts on the Play Some store, which if you're not familiar with is another digital storefront where you can purchase games, and you can actually use our code, the Indie Brew, for a further 10% off on all of the games on there as well. But some of the games that we found this week on sale are a game about digging a hole, which is 35% off. Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion is 80% off. Spiritfarer, the Farewell Edition, is 87% off. And Apico is 60% off.
So if you add the 10% on Turnip Boy, it becomes 90% off?
I think so.
That is so good. All right, so this week we're starting off with a really relevant topic, especially because it's starting to happen a lot around the world, and that is Nintendo's new guidelines and new rules and regulations within their terms and conditions about bricking the Switch 2 console. Now, for those that don't know, bricking the console essentially means stopping the console from running. So once it's bricked, you can't access any of it. It's done. It's a dead console, for lack of a better word. I've heard some people online call it a extremely expensive paperweight at that point in time. But the main idea is that if you break Nintendo's terms and services at all, they have the right to stop your console from working, pretty much. So it's basically saying if you mod it in any way, if you use pirated games or any sort of thing that's, like I said, going to break their terms and conditions in that more illegal side of things, they just stop your console from working. It's a big issue because a lot of people see it as, it's like, I've paid for the console, it's my console, why can't I do what I want with it? And I think this falls under a really gray area because obviously the doing what you want is an illegal activity. Piracy is illegal. Some of the modding that people do contains the piracy. So like they might get a specific mod that opens up a full library of the Switch 2 and then you can play whatever game you want on it. But it does mean that there is going to be a bunch of Switch 2s that are bricked and can't really tell the difference. So this is a hard one because I understand where the company's coming from, but at the same time, how do we know they're not going to abuse this power and you could just have an issue one day and next day your Switch is bricked? It's a really hard one. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's interesting because, you know, when you purchase something, typically you kind of think, okay, well, this is mine now. You know, if you were purchasing a computer and then someone told you couldn't use your computer for XYZ, you'd probably be pretty annoyed, right? It's not like it's a cheap kind of thing either. Like, it's an expensive piece of equipment. And that's what it is. It's a piece of equipment. So in some ways, it's kind of like, where does that responsibility kind of end? Now, I have heard that it's only in the US that they're actually bricking devices. In the UK or the EU, they're just cutting off online service access. So slightly different, but still kind of means you can't, I don't know if you can download new games or anything like that, or if you just are relying on cartridges.
From what I understand, the way it works is the cartridge just tells the online store that you've bought the game. You just getting a key. You're not getting like a physical copy or anything like that. The Switch gives you the physical copy, which is just the boat to transport the key, if that makes sense.
It's just a fancy key.
Yeah, realistically what they want to do is give you a game code card, but they also understand that Nintendo fans love collecting cases. Yeah. So they're trying to cater towards that case collecting, but at the same time trying to get rid of the physical copy. So it's really, really hard to understand where they're coming from with this. So you don't need an internet connection to play the game once it's installed. Okay. But you will need an internet connection to download the full game data for the first time when using a game key card. Okay. So they're called game key cards. They're not even called cartridges anymore. It's basically that. Yeah. Nintendo's just turning into a game key company, which is strange.
It is. It is strange when you're going to all that effort to make a cartridge. You would think, why not just put the game on there? But it's interesting though. I'm not sure how this compares to like Xbox and PlayStation and what their policies are, but I do think to a degree, like, it is in their terms of service. So if you're not reading those terms of service, this is like one of those ones that will get you. If you're planning on going to the local markets and buying some cheap like ROM with a bunch of different games on it, and you didn't read the terms of service, like, I feel like that's kind of on you. As you said, if you're doing something illegal, you know, I think the more worrying thing about this whole kind of discussion is this is one of the big downsides to moving to a digital marketplace, which is where we seem to be heading with the tech at the moment. It feels like everything is moving to digital. Physical media is kind of, it's not really being a thing anymore, to the degree that, like, you don't even have disk drives in your computers anymore. Like it's not a thing anymore. And I guess by moving to a digital kind of marketplace, we're actually giving these storefronts and publishers and things more control over our access to the games, because they can literally just switch it off, done. It does bring up that big kind of discussion about physical versus digital as a whole, I think.
It's definitely hard. Like, even consoles are coming out with no disc drives these days. I've got a digital PS5 here. The strange thing with that, though, with the digital PS5 is they brought out the PS5 Pro with the digital only copy, and not too long after they ended up bringing out a disc drive attachment. So like, that does show that people are still wanting to get discs, especially for those older companies, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. There's still people who love collecting that stuff. So there's still a big market for it, which surprises me as to the way things are going. It's obviously easier for the companies to do digital only stuff. Obviously, it doesn't cost as much in publishing and things like that, because they don't have to make the discs and things. But games haven't changed price.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, like Nintendo's games, like, they're not doing full-on game cards, yet the games have gone up in price.
Yeah.
To like, I think they're like $120 or something like that.
It doesn't really make sense. Like, what are you paying for? Because I think the argument for why games cost so much is because they cost so much to manufacture the discs in the case and to put them in stores, and there's all of those kind of logistical and manufacturing prices associated with that, which is fair enough. Like, if you're paying for a physical copy of a disc and a case and everything and the art and everything, yeah, sure, of course it's going to cost more, but that's not reflected in the digital marketplace.
Yes.
You literally are paying the same. If you went to a shop and bought the game, it'd be the same price as it would be buying it online, which is weird.
Exactly. And like, looking at it now, so the new Mario Kart on Switch 2 is $120 AUD.
Gross.
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which came out in like 2017, came out in 2017, so almost 10 years old, is $110. Wow. $110. The same price as Tears of the Kingdom, which released much further than that. Now, I understand that they're remastered for the new things, but like, still, that's going to be $110 for the next 5 years.
It does kind of beg the question of like, what am I actually paying for? And I guess that really comes into this discussion of whether or not we actually own a game that we buy, or whether we just own the license to play that game. Are we actually just buying like a lease for this device instead? Because you're dictating how I use it, which means I don't really own it.
Yes. Yeah. It's one of the big reasons why I went back to retro games. Because it's not just what are we paying for, it's like, at what point of the game are we paying for? We've seen releases like Cyberpunk, which I love CD Projekt Red, but that released terribly. I paid a lot of money for that and I couldn't play it within the first, I don't even know how long. And there's plenty of examples of that. Not so much in the indie scene, because they're pretty honest with what they're giving. It's like, this is in early access, there's gonna be some issues. AAA is like, it's a fully finished game, here you go. And like, you can't get through the main menu. And you're like, okay, what?
Okay.
So I've started going back to retro for that exact reason, because for the most part, I know if I put my game in, I can play it. There's no installs needed. There's no day one updates that's 40 gig, stuff like that. Like, it just doesn't happen. But that brings us to another interesting topic that is getting a lot of traction at the moment and is a very big thing in the gaming industry, and that is the Stop Killing Games initiative, which ties into this really well, because we're talking about the fact that a lot of these games are being made purely just to make money these days, and they don't really care what happens with the game once it's released, or once it's sort of had a lifespan for a little bit. Indie games have a roadmap, right? Yeah. We have things like Into the Dead has a massive roadmap of what they're planning to do for ages. Yeah. But there's games that come out, AAA, that don't have that, and they kind of just serve their purpose. Once they've served their purpose, they're done. So yeah, Stop Killing Games initiative. It's basically an initiative to say that we want to make sure our games are playable in the future. We've spent excessive amounts of money on these games, and we want to make sure that in 10, 15, 20 years' time, we can still enjoy the game. One of the big ones that they use as an example for this is The Crew. Have you heard about what happened to The Crew?
No, I haven't. What happened?
So basically, The Crew is a multiplayer racing game made by Ubisoft. It was an online-only game, so it required constant internet connection, even with the single-player mode. If you were offline, you attempted to launch the game, you'd get an error screen. You couldn't do it. So in December of 2023, Ubisoft delisted the game and its expansions from all digital platforms, suspended sales, and transactions, and said that the game was going to be, the servers were going to be shut down in 2024. And I think the big word there is microtransactions, because you've spent money on this game over quite a period of time. I know some people are talking about spending quite a fair bit of money, and it was still their favorite game. They were still playing it. It might not have had the massive fan base that it had, years before, but there were still people playing it. So they ended up shutting it down, and Ubisoft did offer refunds to people who recently purchased The Crew, but no refunds for people who had bought it from all the way back. So that's, your game money gone and your microtransaction money gone, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And then they revoked the licenses from players who had bought The Crew. So it wasn't just taking the game away. It was, you no longer have the license to play the game. I know there were some people that were trying to start up their own servers so that the game could live on, but that's just didn't want to happen. And that is what the Stop Killing Games initiative is sort of encompassing. It's the fact that these days it feels like a video game can be taken away from you at any given time if the developers or the company decides that's it, we're done.
It's an interesting issue because obviously I feel like when you purchase something, when you buy a game, you're not going, oh, okay, I'm going to lease this game for 2 years. It's like, no, I'm buying this game forever. And that's kind of the expectation you have when you buy a game, is that you will always have access to it. I understand servers being closed down, like public servers being closed down when a game slows down, because obviously servers are expensive to maintain. And I can understand a company not wanting to support a server forever, of course, because I don't think that's sustainable for a company to do. However, I don't think that it is too far-fetched to allow people to host their own dedicated servers. We've seen a lot of games have dedicated server functionality, and there's a lot of even indie games, even small teams, small studios, small publisher games have that dedicated server functionality. So it's obviously not a matter of can we do that? It can be done. It's obvious that it can be done. There's enough proof there that dedicated servers are a feasible way to continue this on. And a dedicated server means that the person running the server pays for it. So there's no cost to the publishers there. So I feel like, I understand closing down public servers, but I feel like, yeah, I agree. They should have some sort of functionality there for people to be able to run their own servers after those shut down.
100%. I'm looking it up now. So there's already games that do this. Halo Combat Evolved Edition. The official server's already shut down ages ago, but there are still community hosted dedicated servers through Project Cartographer mod. So that is allowed to happen. So there's people that can still play on it. And there's other games that do this. And if there's enough of a community, if someone's willing to pay for it, let them pay for it.
Exactly.
It doesn't take away from your situation. In the Crew's situation, microtransactions aren't going to be there anymore, but they're not going to be there anyway. You're not missing out on money either way. I don't see how it's that bad for a company to just go, all right, well, you guys, here you go, you run with it. In D&D, they make these new editions constantly. So we're up to 2024 edition or something like that, whatever the new rules are. But 5e is done. And before that, second edition, third edition, all that sort of stuff. There's still dedicated communities that are based around that make new content for it constantly. And it would suck if Wizards came out and said, you know what, you have to return all your books and you're not allowed to make any new content for this edition of the modules that we made. I want all of it back. So can you just send your books back and we'll just forget it ever existed?
Could you imagine? But yeah, I think, look, honestly, when it comes down to it, it's a money thing. They want you to buy the new game that is supported. They want you to buy the Crew 2. I don't know if that exists, but...
Yes, it does. Yeah.
You know, they want you to buy the next game. And that, I think, is what is driving these bigger companies, because it's the bigger companies. Let's be honest. It's EA, it's Ubisoft, it's these big companies who are basically going, you know what? We'll just stop the old game and then people will come play the new game. And I think... it's so greedy.
Overwatch 2. They told everyone about this story mode. And oh man, I was so excited. Told everyone about this story mode. And they're like, Overwatch 1 servers will eventually be turned off. Overwatch 2 will be free. And we'll get this story mode. And you can pay for these battle passes and all these other things. It was like, all right, cool. I'm happy because they're relatively similar games. I'm happy for Overwatch 1 to kind of die if it means that I get the exact same experience in number 2, but they're adding on. So it was basically like a remaster, but then that never happened. But they closed down Overwatch 1 to force people to move into Overwatch 2. And that game's gone now. Overwatch, the original, you can buy like the old discs for it for the consoles. They won't do a single thing. It
feels like over the past probably 5 or so years, we've shifted with a lot of the bigger games into this seasonal style of game as well that is very heavy on battle passes and microtransactions and loot boxes and all of that stuff. So it's like we've shifted into this different kind of area of gaming in a lot of ways, and they're making money off these free to play games. Like, they're not really free to play.
Oh yeah.
They're like pay to win kind of games.
I believe it was Battlefront 2 where you could pay, and it was pay to win. You could pay to get epic characters that had these insane abilities, or you could play the equivalent of like 1,000 years to unlock it. You're not really giving me a chance to actually unlock it myself without having to pay for it. And I believe that wasn't a free-to-play game either. I think you had to pay for that to begin with anyway.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of these kind of, you know, seasonal style content that people expect constant updates. Like, they expect fresh maps or fresh characters or fresh gear or whatever it might be, depending on what the game is. Every couple of months, they were expecting something new. So it's putting a lot of pressure on other games to compete as well. The gaming landscape has definitely shifted over the past couple of years, and I feel like we are moving away from, here's a game, play it, it's complete, you can play it forever. And now we're moving into this, you know, no, we expect constant updates, we expect new content, we expect this, we expect that, we expect this. And then you've kind of got that whole thing of like, okay, well, I'm doing that. I'm playing this seasonal game, like Overwatch. I'm playing this seasonal game. I'm investing time, I'm investing money into the content to buy all of these battle passes and this and that and everything else, especially if I want to keep up and be competitive in these games, because most of these games are the ones that are the like esports games as well. And I'm paying all this money because I want to keep up and I want to be good at this game, and you know, I really love this game. And then, you know, you're saying in 12 months time they can just turn the servers off and that's it, and all of that time and money and everything else is just done. Like, that seems wrong. And even if it's a free to play game and you never put money into it at all, it still seems off. Like, you know,
how do I say this without getting too into it? A lot of these companies are publicly traded companies, right? And the investors are like, where's our money from our investment? And obviously the companies need to make that money to give back to their investors and so on and so on. And it's just created such a strange environment where games just have to be pushed. We need to make as much money as we can, as quickly as we can, and then get the heck out so that we can start on our next one. And that sucks. You don't see this as much in indie games. There'll be a single solo developer who's like, man, I don't even care about the money. I just want you guys to enjoy my game. It'd be nice if I made some money from it, but I just want people to enjoy my game. And that's what it used to be. You know, I remember back when we were teenagers and stuff, the hype around games was massive. And game companies would do these awesome showcases and they'd have big advertisements at EB Games, and there'd be midnight launches with activities and all these other things, and there was really a culture around gaming. Nowadays, I feel like it's either one of two things, where it's a new game's coming out and everyone has to rag on it for the first 6 months it's out, and then people go, actually, this is not that bad. Or it's a terrible game packaged to look very, very good, and then we realize that it's got 2008 gameplay mechanics. And that's like kind of the two sides of the story. With AAA, Indie Games is that beautiful place where we can kind of sit back and see some good things happening. Update on the Stop Killing Games initiative. It has received 1.3 million signatures in the EU. One of the updates from that is that there may be some signatures that were faked and from overseas, which they're kind of looking into. But there is now also the standalone petition to the UK government, and there is a French petition specifically towards the crew, which is kind of cool. And there's massive things going on all around the world for people to sort of say, just make up a backup plan. Because at the end of the day, the Stop Killing Games initiative is just about backup plans. What sort of backup plan would you put in if things were to go bad? And for the most part, people talk about single player campaigns.
I think it's interesting because it is getting a lot of support now. So there is kind of people as part of the parliament coming out now and saying, you know, once you buy a game, you should own it, which I think is taking this even further than just servers being supported, because I think that's where it started, was servers being supported, and now it's kind of grown into this whole, but what am I actually paying for? And I think, to be honest, I feel like most of this boils down to companies not being upfront with their plans for supporting the game. If I knew that I was only paying for 5 years of support, like if I was like, if say the Crew 2 was on sale and they said, you know, yep, we're selling this game, we're guaranteeing 5 years of server support, and then we're not sure what will happen. I feel like that would be better than what is happening now. Obviously, we'd love for them to support it forever, but like it as a kind of middle ground, like at least be open with what the plans are. At least kind of say, hey, we're only planning on supporting these servers for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, and then adjust your price to match that expectation as well.
The other thing a lot of people talk about is MMOs within this. I know Pirate Software has spoken a lot about MMOs, basically just saying like you can't expect a company to make a backup plan for an MMO, which is predominantly online. Once the servers are off, the servers are off.
Yeah.
But once again, it's just, there's a lot of people talking about, well, let community-driven projects happen. If a server turns off, allow the community to have a chance at least running it. And then at the end of the day, if the community doesn't do a good job of it and they shut it down, well, at least there was an attempt made. You give people the option to still have it. And I think that's all anyone wants. Everyone that's a part of this initiative and this petition is, we want to own our games, and we want to know that we can play our games the way we want to play them. So if that means us running our own servers for it, then that means us running our own servers for it. That's pretty much where it sits. Do you have an overall take on this?
I think that this is more of a reflection on the overall industry than it is specifically about servers. And I think this is basically what's been boiling for the past probably 10 years. I think what's happening now is this is a result of the tech boom and us diving into a digital age with no infrastructure to support what that means, because no one had any idea of what was going to happen. You know, even 20, 30 years ago, if you had said, yeah, no, you just download your game off the internet, people would look at you like you were like crazy. Like, what the heck? What, you don't have a disc? You don't have that? I think this is actually quite a natural result of us embracing technology too quickly and not having the infrastructure to support that in place. And I think that there does need to be change. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if it's just more transparency. I don't know if it is, you know, a move to owning a game versus like leasing a game, and whether or not, you know, Steam will turn into something else, or like these digital storefronts will turn into like kind of like Netflix style things where you lease a game rather than, you know, buying it, but then having the option to buy it. Like, I don't know how it will look in the future. I think it will be interesting. I think this has been boiling for a while, and I don't think we're going to see a resolution anytime soon. This is a good petition and a good kind of step to addressing these issues that are kind of brewing under the surface. I know there's also things like the microtransactions and the gambling side of things. People are like also looking into that as part of this. So there's a lot there. It's huge. And I'm interested to see what comes out of it. I don't think we're going to see anything concrete for a long time, though. I think this is going to be something that is going to take a long time. And I'm not sure if we're ever going to get there. I'll be honest with you.
I'm hoping, I agree, 100% agree. I don't think this is going to be the be all and end all of anything. I think this is going to start conversations. I think this is going to push some developers to change some practices, but I don't think it's going to do much. What I do hope that comes from this is that those big developers start listening to the community a little bit more and understand that we are the consumer, and at some point people are going to stop buying things. There's been a few games out over the past 2 years. I'm not going to mention them because I just don't want to, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to guess what they are. And they were hyped. They were quite hyped, some big AAA games. And when they come out, they just lack everything. They lack soul, they lack flow, they lack environment. There's massive games that should be absolutely groundbreaking that no one talks about anymore. There's games from 15 years ago. Let's talk about Skyrim. I know in most of my gaming conversations with friends, Skyrim comes up at least once or twice because it is a memorable game that was massive. It was buggy as, man. Oh man, that game was buggy. But it did everything else right. When now, most of the games that are coming out are buggy and they're not doing anything right. We're getting games that are huge with no living environments. It's all just like lush landscapes with nothing in them. We're getting a lot of walking simulators. And I really want the games industry to, number one, take a look at indie games. Big companies, Ubisoft, EA, all you big companies, look at some of the indie games and understand that these games are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. They pack so much in. They're a small team and they do so much. And you just need to get better at making your own games. Baldur's Gate 3 is a perfect example of what a game could be. It's got branching narratives. It's so in depth with its scripting. The game mechanics are so in depth. There are so many things you can do in that game, so many places to see. I've played like 4 or 5 times and I know there's still content I haven't come across. There's other RPG companies that make those sorts of games that go, that's just unrealistic. You can't do that. Well, Larian did. Like, what do you mean it's unrealistic? They did it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know. Just do better. It's so hard for me to say.
No, but it's right. And I think the reality is if Baldur's Gate 3 was a AAA game, it would not have succeeded.
No.
Because they literally were told, you can't make this game. That's not possible. And then they went, well, let's just see. And I think that is indie to a T. That is the true kind of essence of indie games there, is basically kind of saying, you know what, we're going to do the things, we're going to make the games we want to make, and we're not going to give a rat's about what the industry expects or industry tells us is possible. We're just going to do it anyway. And that, I think, is why we're seeing the kind of boom of indie now, because we're getting so many people kind of go, you know what, I'm not content with graduating from university and then going and working at a studio and putting together some slop that I'm not proud of. That kind of like, no, you know what, I'm going to go out on my own. Yes, it's riskier, but I'm actually going to make something that I'm proud of. I'm going to make something that I'm passionate about, and I'm going to make something that I want people to enjoy. And you can tell in the quality of the games that, you know, it's not like anything else. And then you go the extra step further and you go to something like PAX and you meet the people who are making the game, and it will absolutely blow your mind. And that is exactly why we do what we do here, because, you know, indie games are unlike anything else, and once you've entered indie world, you won't come back. as you can probably testify to.
I 100%. This time last year, potentially, I was only just kind of delving into the indie world. I was playing games here and there. And once I sort of got in and started exploring what games were actually indie, because some of the bigger games that I knew of, I didn't even know they were indie.
Yep.
Baldur's Gate 3, for instance, it doesn't seem like an indie game because it's better than most AAAs. I 100% agree. One of the ones that recently I was able to chat to and see interacting with the community was the team from End of Ember. Those guys are so cool. They're so down to earth. They are extremely excited for anyone who shows interest in their game, and it's just so good to see. It's heading in there and chatting to them. They're so passionate. They're not really, you can tell they're not there just for the money. Like, there's a passion behind this. They had an idea and they had to run with it. And I love that. It's so cool to see the excitement around it. If you ever want to really get into gaming culture, head to PAX and head to the indie section. You'll find developers who are willing to talk to you about all styles of things, whether it be what games were based on, the mythology that the games were based on, the coding, the art style. Like, they are willing to talk to you for hours, if possible, about anything. And it's just absolutely fantastic. The indie scene is beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, we'd love to know what you guys think. Let us know in the comments. This is huge. Like, this is such a big kind of landmark petition with the Stop Killing Games, and such a big issue that really affects everyone. Like, it affects every gamer, whether you are a console exclusive, whether you just play on the Switch, whether you just play PC. Like, this really does have like potential implications for everyone across the board. So we'd love to know what you think. Let us know your thoughts, feelings, what you think it's going to mean for gamers, because this is definitely going to be something that's ongoing. Yeah, I'm actually curious to see how this is going to pan out a bit as well.
100%.
We are doing games on our backlog. We want you to convince us need to come off our backlog, because my backlog is really long at this point. In honor of it being Automation Fest on Steam, my pick for the backlog this week is a classic automation game, and that is Factorio. So I know it's well overdue for me to play this game. I have been told again and again and again, you need to play this. I am a big fan of automation games. I've been playing like Block Factory this week. I've been playing Oddsparks recently as well. I love Shapes. I'm a big automation fan. So this is definitely right up my alley. I just haven't got into it. It might be because it's such a big game. Like, I don't know about you, but when games are like a really big commitment, I'm like, I really want to commit to that. So that might be part of this. But yeah, I think it's definitely well overdue for me to play this one. But convince me, why do I need to play Factorio? How is it different to other automation games? Like, what's its unique point of difference as well? Let me know.
For this week, my pick for the backlog, this has been sitting on in my Steam library for about, I want to say 13 years. So it's Bastion. It's an adventure style game where you play as a character who wakes up to this insane calamity that has befallen the world. And the world basically breaks up into a whole bunch of different pieces. It's a beautiful game. It's absolutely stunning. Plays very similar to, say, like Hades or those styles of game. I have played a little bit of it, and it was really, really good when I did play it. But I think it was another one of those situations where when I started playing it, not being massively into indie back in the time, I think a AAA game came out at the same time, and I ended up playing that with mates, and I just completely forgot it existed. But I have seen a few clips of it here and there over the past couple of weeks, and it's made me go, oh yeah, I forgot about that game. It honestly looks like a fantastic game. Another one of those styles that I'm really into. I just haven't gotten into it just yet. So convince me. What is the pitch? Tell me why I should play Bastion. It's definitely been sitting there for far too long, and it's about time I do finish it.
I do have an update on my backlog, because I did tick a game off my backlog this past week,
Yeah.
but you're probably going to be mad at me because I don't think I really liked it.
Oh no, what is it?
I played Stack Clans last week, and I couldn't get into it. I don't know. I just it was okay, but I just couldn't really get into it. I don't know what it was. It just wasn't fun.
Did you get the same vibes from Sizzle and Stack?
No, it didn't have the same vibes.
Okay, interesting.
And I don't know why. I'm not sure if maybe it wasn't structured enough. Like Sizzle and Stack was quite structured you had very regimented points of continuing through with your different kind of food packs, and that unlocked the new recipes, and it was kind of more structured. And Stacklands I found didn't have that as much. It was kind of oh, okay, cool, I'll just do this and do that, sure, okay. So it was kind of what's the point?
Okay,
I guess. It didn't feel like there was as much of there wasn't an overarching objective or anything like that really drove the gameplay for me. It was more just let's just try and survive. Okay,
I get that. I get that.
Oh, by the way, here's a goblin that's going to fuck up your entire colony, so good luck with that. That's my impression.
I get that. There's definitely no set reason to progress, I guess, apart from getting attacked. There is an end game to it, but they don't sort of showcase that, I guess.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from. I get it. I'm not gonna blame you for that much.
I might play some more. I'm not totally off it, but it didn't hook me. I didn't really. It didn't have that I want to keep playing this kind of thing. And I don't know, I'm not a big fan of sandbox games in general. So maybe that was part of it as well, because it didn't have that as much. It felt more sandboxy. But yeah, that was what I thought of Stacklands. Don't hate me.
So as always, there are a bunch of indie games that are being released, and we are truly spoiled in the indie section. So we have picked a couple of games that we believe are going to be fantastic, and these are our ones to watch.
So my one to watch this week is a game called Curiosmos. It caught my eye because it's kind of adorable, but it's basically a cozy space simulation game where you build your own solar system. So you craft planets, you kind of environmentally shape them as well, and you kind of build your own cute little solar system. So this one just released a demo, so you can actually get in and give it a go. It's got kind of a God game type of feel to it, I think, like God game kind of vibes where you're, shaping a planet. You can shoot meteors at the planet surface and break down to the lava, and that makes a volcano explode, and you've got to go and harvest ice from asteroids and bring it to your planet to make sure there's water there so that you can make the environment grow. And it's got kind of that kind of environmental God game type vibes, but it looks so cute, so cozy, and is definitely one to watch.
My pick for this week is not cute and not cozy. It is an action adventure called Abyssus. So this is a co-op multiplayer shooting action game where you basically fight through handcrafted levels in a roguelite adventure, and it looks fantastic. It's a shooter game where, based on a whole bunch of different environments, you go around trying to clear objectives. Like I said, roguelite, so the maps change as you go along, and you've got to try and make it through the area. You've got different technologies you can get, divine blessings, a whole bunch of stuff that's going to make your run a little bit easier. But I really like the idea of that co-op movement through a roguelite adventure. It sounds awesome. I'd love to get some friends in on this and give it a shot. It's definitely one to watch. I'm excited for it.
Taste test.
So we've spoken about the ones to watch. Now we're going to talk about the ones that we have been playing. Played a bunch of games this week, but we're going to have a chat about two of them. This is Taste Test. So this week I was lucky enough to get a code for the Drifter, and it is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Story-driven game, point-and-click adventure. You play as a bloke that's a little bit down on his luck. He's traveling back to his hometown after a while for his mother's funeral. And things just start going mental. There's like this crazy conspiracy theory about people who are stealing homeless people. And upon entering the area, it kind of, like I said, it sounds crazy, but then a whole bunch of stuff happens and you realize that maybe it's not as crazy as what you thought. The story is fantastic. It's very gripping. There's twists and turns at every corner. There's memorable characters, even within the first chapter. My old mate Bill, he's one of the blokes you can talk to. Absolutely fantastic character. The point and click aspect of it is a lot of fun. You can buy different items to create new items to solve different puzzles. There's a lot of dialogue options. You can pick different areas that you can explore within the dialogue. And the exploration around this amazing pixel art map is just fantastic. It's deep. It's psychological. There's times where it's extremely tense and you're just trying to figure out what to do within time limit. It's just a lot of fun. I've played 3 chapters so far, I think out of 5 maybe. And like I said, the twists and turns of it are just phenomenal. Every step of the way, it's got me guessing what could possibly be the ending of this. And I've got different conspiracies that are going from time travel to aliens to all sorts of stuff. So my brain wanders really far with this one. The soundtrack is amazing. The art style is amazing. One thing I do need to mention is the voice acting in this game is insane. Absolutely fantastic. The emotions that some of the lines deliver while you're playing it is sometimes truly heartbreaking and sometimes really gives you a sense of hope. They've done so well with this game. It'll be out as of now when this video comes out, so I highly recommend picking it up. There is a demo available for it. The demo is the first chapter, so if you're interested in it but you're not 100% sure whether you're going to like it, definitely check out the demo. Otherwise, there will be a video up on the channel sometime soon of playing through the first 2 chapters, and I really give my thoughts on it as we're going along as well. So check that out. But yeah, The Drifter, fantastic game. Fantastic game.
So this week, I played a horror game. I know, not like me at all, but I was able to check out a game called Clued, and this one is it's more of a psychological horror. It's not like a gory jump scare kind of horror, but it is kind of a spin on solitaire. So pretty much you have these different rituals in this game that you need to complete, and so each kind of ritual is represented by a different card. And so there's like one that's like a tarot card, one that's like a different type of card, and there's all different kind of things that represent the different rituals that there are. And when you click on them, it comes up with a story, and it's kind of told from like your point of view. So it's as if you're playing this person and you have done something bad, basically, is the general theme. You've either like killed someone or you've done something wrong and you want to take it back. And someone told you, some mysterious stranger told you about this card game that you can play. And if you complete the ritual, you can undo the bad thing that you've done. The gameplay is essentially solitaire tweaked. So instead of suits, you just have different colors of cards, and you're actually able to stack up or down. So you can put like, if you have a 5, you can put a 4 on it, or you can put a 6 on it, and you can stack either way, but you can't move like the entire stack of cards to a different row. You have to kind of do one by one each card. And where it gets interesting is you're not only trying to like put all your cards away like you would in solitaire, but there's also these rituals that you have to complete, and the rituals are not an indication of you winning the game necessarily. So each ritual has different rules that you need to follow to be able to complete it. And you don't know the rules. The rules are not told up front. So you basically have to observe what's happening with these 4 coins, and they'll tell you whether or not you're on the right track to successfully completing a ritual. I really liked this. I thought it was really interesting. It definitely put a different spin on the gameplay, because you're not just trying to kind of get all the cards in the right order or anything like that. You're actually trying to figure out how to win and how to successfully complete the ritual. And the cool thing is there's actually different endings depending on how many of the coins you flip over. So there's 4 different coins that you have to get to complete the ritual, 1 for each suit of cards. And yeah, basically there's different endings. So if you get none of those, there's a certain ending. If you get like between 1 to 3, there's a certain ending. And if you get all 4, there's a certain ending. And they all differ. And yeah, it's kind of really cool. Once you successfully complete all 4, you also unlock these kind of weird, creepy items that just sit on the table around the deck of cards. And they've also got stories attached to them, so you can kind of open them up and it might be like a case report or an interview log or something like that. So there's a broader mystery going on with who is kind of facilitating these rituals, who's teaching people how to do them, that kind of thing. So it's definitely got that kind of like creepy, I don't want to look over my shoulder while I'm playing this game kind of vibes, but it's not like super kind of scary. Like I wouldn't call it like full on horror, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. There is a Let's Play of the first hour up on YouTube now, so you can go and check out some of the gameplay for yourself. But yeah, if you like a good card game with a bit of a twist and a bit of a kind of creepy story, this is definitely one worth checking out.
I'm keen to give this one a shot.
For this week's challenge, we are back to the drinks. We are back to linking up drinks with games. But this week, we're doing tea. So we are going to be recommending indie games for you based off of what tea you drink. This hopefully will not be too controversial. We'll see. We'll see how this goes.
All mine are pretty good, I feel.
Yeah.
I haven't gone for people.
I don't think I have either. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see. We're going to kick it off with a classic, the English breakfast. So when I think of English breakfast, I feel like it's the go-to tea, right? Like usually when you think about tea, you're thinking about a classic English breakfast. It's a game that kind of is chill, but also kind of gives you that little bit of a kick. Not like too much, but like a little bit. And I feel like in game form, that's nice day for fishing. It's got a really chill vibe. It's kind of on the cozier side. It's got a nice pixel art vibe, nice soundtrack, but it also packs a little bit of a punch because it's funny. It's got some cool like battle systems in there, and it just keeps you on your toes. And I feel like that is the perfect match for an English breakfast tea.
Very nice. Very nice. I went with a similar concept, but for me, English breakfast is the standard. But it's a good standard, right? And when I think about the standard for indie games, where a lot of people get into it, is Stardew Valley. It's just a standard indie style game. It's a good standard. I know your opinions on it. It's just one that most people can hop into, sit back, relax, and have a really good time.
I can agree with that, even if I don't personally agree with that. I can see the appeal. Next up, we have peppermint tea. Now, I don't know about you, but peppermint tea is always my go-to when I have like a sore tummy. Like it's a comforting tea. It's a tea that you drink when it's like, you want to like be comforted, I guess, for want of a better description. And obviously peppermint, it's green. It makes me think of green things. It makes me think of plants and grass and nature and those kind of vibes. So my game that I think represents peppermint tea is Urban Jungle, which is basically kind of like unpacking, but with plants. You run a plant shop and you have different plants that you have to place, and you have to place them in their ideal environments. And it's just it's cozy, it's comforting, it's got the kind of greenery and the plant vibes, and I think that goes perfectly with peppermint tea.
I haven't played that game, but I get it. I get the sentiment around it. My one for peppermint is I see peppermint as sort of that mood booster, the uplifting sort of style of tea. When you're feeling a little bit down, you're sitting on the couch, a nice peppermint tea is really uplifting to me. Mm-hmm. And the game that I thought was good for that is Wonder Stop. Not only is it a tea game, mm-hmm. but it's got a really uplifting, nice story to it where you kind of just go at your own pace and move through the different challenges that you are faced with. And the whole time you're sort of just sitting back going, this is nice. And you get to those bits of a little bit of chaos and move back into the world again, and you feel a little bit more uplifted each time. So it's a little bit of a mood booster, and I think that works well with the peppermint tea.
I like that. I think that fits well. Next up, we have chamomile tea. And of course, I feel like chamomile tea has to be paired with a relaxing game, right? Like chamomile tea is what you drink when you want to wind down, when you want to relax. Kind of helps you get to sleep sometimes. It's the relaxing tea. It's the gold standard for relaxing teas. And to me, the gold standard for relaxing games is Preserve. This one is the environmental puzzle game where you build the most beautiful, stunning environments with like hexagon tiles, and it is one of the most relaxing games I've played. It does have like an element of challenge to it, like there are goals to hit and stuff, but it is just so nice and soothing and just lovely. And I think that pairs really well with chamomile tea.
I'm in the exact same boat. Chamomile tea is the go-to for relaxing, getting rid of those anxieties, the stresses, and I picked a very similar game by way of just a relaxing time, a really nice relaxing time, and that is a short hike. So going through the game, looking at all the different landscapes and enjoying the movement and just disconnecting from the world, I think is exactly what chamomile is all about. And yeah, short hike is the way to go.
Next up, we have Lady Grey. I've never actually drunk Lady Grey tea, so I'm not 100% familiar, but I feel like it's kind of like a black tea with a little bit of an extra kick, right? Like it's a little bit of like fruity vibes, a little bit of extra, and I feel like to me that is a farming sim. I feel like Lady Grey is kind of something you'd pair with a nice farming sim. It's kind of that cozy, relaxing, but it's got that little bit extra in there, those little bit extra mechanics. And I feel like to me the farming sim that goes with that is Echoes of Plum Grove. Because this one, it's the farming sim, but there's also some like extra things in there, like diseases that can wipe out your entire family and other things that can potentially go wrong. You can starve to death in that one, for example. So I feel like it's kind of cozy. It's the farming sim, but it's got that little bit of an extra kick that kind of keeps you on your toes, and it's a bit different to just your standard black tea.
Once again, we're on similar paths. I see Lady Grey as the fancy tea. It's the one that you've got in the can, and when a special guest comes around, you pull out the Lady Grey to show that you're sophisticated. And for that, I see that as the same thing, a little bit extra. And I'm going with Dungeons and Dining Tables for this one. Now, this one isn't out per se, but I feel like it just takes this tea to the exact of what it is. Dungeons and Dining Tables is a decorative game where you're decorating a house, but the fancy part about it is that to get all the bits and pieces you need to decorate your house, you've got to go out and dungeon delve a little bit, defeat some enemies, bring back some different blueprints, and get exactly what you need to decorate your house in the right way. It's just that perfect one to wind down to whilst also relieving some stress beating up things. So yeah.
And lucky last, we have the classic green tea. Now, to me, green tea is chaos disguised as cozy. It is, it seems cozy on the outside. Yeah, it's a nice tea. It's, it's nice and relaxing, but really it packs a pretty decent punch because green tea has a decent kick of caffeine in there. And to me, the game that lines up with that cozy chaos kind of vibe is Go-Go Town. So this one is a kind of town management game where you're the mayor of a town, and it's got a cozy graphic style, it's got some cozy elements in there, but man, can that game get chaotic. And I think that is the perfect mix of cozy chaos, and that goes perfectly with green tea.
I'm surprised that we went pretty much with exactly the same style of game in the way funny. Of like the cozy chaos. But I did the same thing. So green tea, packs a punch, is one that I don't drink that often actually, because when I'm going for a tea, I want to relax. If not, I go coffee. But I went with Oxygen Not Included. Very cozy sim game, more like a sim management, and it gets chaotic straight away. You've got all these little sim guys running around trying to collect things, and there's like a whole bunch of different things that can go wrong, catastrophes, but somehow it's still cozy. It's like one of the most stressful games I've ever played while relaxing in my Audi drinking a cup of tea. Like, it makes no sense. That's where my mind goes. Oxygen not included.
I mean, it's cozy chaos. That's what it is.
Yeah. Cozy chaos.
Let us know what you think. How did we do? Did we match up the teas properly? Would you recommend some different games to go with these teas? Or do you drink one of these teas and agree or disagree with us? Let us know in the comments below.
I definitely feel like we didn't come after people in that one.
No, but it's
all
tea.
pretty good.
It's supposed to be nice, you know? All right, that is where we are going to wrap up this week's episode of the Indie Brew Show. We hope you've enjoyed all of the games we've talked about, some of the controversial stuff sprinkled in there too. But one thing's for sure, we know your wish list is going to be absolutely stacked after this episode.
There's so much coming out as per every week, and it's hard to keep up with what's going on. We hope we've given you some things to look at and at least some things to consider.
If you're looking for more indie game content, the YouTube channel, our website, all of our social media is absolutely stacked with a ton of indie game recommendations, let's plays, reviews, all sorts of things. So definitely go and check it out if you're interested in hearing more about any of the games we've talked about.
And definitely leave some comments and let us know what you think about all the things we've spoken about in the show this week.
And until next time,
Stay caffeinated.